Hey guys, LevelCap here. Welcome back for another episode of This Week in Gaming. And this week has been a good one for upcoming games, with release dates and progress updates coming for a few games worth paying attention to. First up is Doom 4. In what looks like a return to Doom's more open and brutal form, Doom 4 will be released on May 13th for PC, Xbox One, and PS4. With John Carmack having left id Tech to serve as CTO of Oculus in August of 2013, it'll be interesting to see how Doom, without its legendary co-creator behind it, shapes up. Various pre-order bonuses and collector's editions will be available, which include in-game cosmetic items and a 12-inch statue of an in-game enemy. Another game people have been looking forward to may have gotten the axe. CCP, the developers behind the space MMO EVE Online, have already shut down one of their games called Dust 514 on the PlayStation 3. They've also now just recently announced that Project Legion, another FPS game based on EVE, is also getting shut down, citing that they quickly discovered in that effort that Project Legion could never serve as a future-proof technology base for a full production game. CCP have instead opted to begin work on a new game in the same vein, with the promise of a plan to give an update at EVE FanFest on April 21st. This is big news for fans of EVE, as well as VR enthusiasts looking forward to the upcoming launch of CCP's VR game EVE Valkyrie. Could CCP be shifting focus towards a VR FPS game? Considering their close ties to Oculus, I wouldn't put it past them. And luckily, EVE Online is still bringing in enough money for them to try out these different FPS endeavors. Speaking of VR, PC Gamer has put together some information about 12 upcoming HTC Vive games, notably Space Pirate Trainer, an arcade FPS shooter that looks to be kind of easy to pick up experience that VR needs to persuade people that the platform is worth getting into. Designed for room-scale VR, Space Pirate Trainer gives players the freedom to move around the game world, unlike many upcoming VR titles that utilize teleportation mechanics to navigate their worlds. While VR is sure to innovate hardware technologies, upcoming shooter Serious Sam 4 looks to be pushing the envelope with software technologies for video games. Utilizing photogrammetry, a relatively new technology that uses photos to create 3D textures for games, Serious Sam 4 will be another in a small handful of games that really pushes the boundaries of photorealism in games. The vanishing of Ethan Carter and EA's recent Battlefront title are probably the most notable examples of this technology, with Ethan Carter using it for its entire game world. And in more traditional game technology news, two big improvements have been made to the upcoming FPS game Squad. Squad now features highly realistic smoke grenades that not only dispense smoke in an authentic manner, more so than I've seen in any other video game, but also adhere to volumetric properties and will not clip through walls. They've also added new environmental muzzle firing effects that adds a new level of realism to this already highly realistic milsim shooter. Another FPS game looking for realism, Battalion 1944, has launched its Kickstarter this week. Developer Bulkhead Interactive seems to be one of the very few developers interested in updating the World War II shooter genre for modern games. The decline in popularity of World War II shooters has relegated their development to either visually unimpressive games or totally over-the-top and essentially futuristic games like Wolfenstein: The New Order. With their Kickstarter already close to beating its funding goal and gameplay that already looks pretty great, it'll be exciting to see how Battalion 1944 does in the current market of FPS titles. Now, funding is often a point of contention for games these days, as more and more AAA titles seem to be cramming as much paid DLC down our throats as possible. While microtransactions certainly aren't everyone's favorite thing, developer Dambuster Studios' upcoming game Homefront: The Revolution seems to be doing things in a different way that won't feel forced, citing their microtransaction system as just a shortcut to unlocking these things. Game designer Fasat Salim assured GameSpot readers in an interview with the website that the microtransaction items are available free in-game through the normal play. With a year's worth of free DLC planned for Homefront: The Revolution, it seems the sequel to the original 2011 Homefront title is getting the proper treatment from its developers. As for whether or not it's actually going to be a good game, we'll have to wait and see, as I wasn't really too impressed with some of the latest gameplay that's been released. One game we won't really have to wait and see if it's any good is the upcoming shooter Overwatch, which is getting another closed beta starting on February 9th. Among other additions, the upcoming beta will feature a new game mode. Overwatch's first closed beta was criticized for having mostly game modes cloned from Team Fortress 2, which held back the otherwise interesting and unique game from feeling like its own thing. Players that had access to the first beta will also have access to the upcoming one. Hopefully the new game mode and other improvements will get Overwatch out from under TF2's shadow and into a space of its own. Anyway, that wraps it up for this week in gaming. I gotta say I'm mostly excited about the new VR tech. It's one of those things where people playing it are saying it doesn't look that cool when you're watching a YouTube video, but when you actually experience it, it's a whole nother world. Let me know if there's anything in the news that you found interesting this week in the comment section. And as always, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap signing out.